The fastest progress in life comes from the growth mindset. You can only make progress from your current state if you get better at something, right? So the way that we actually get better at doing something is by finding something to work upon. Like maybe it might be your weak point, such as social skills, or your strong point, like discipline. It doesn't matter. You have to improve at something in order to make progress and be better than your past self, right? And failure actually allows you to do this because it points out your weak points very specifically. Like most of the times when you fail, you easily find out your weak points. Because if that skill or that weak area was already good enough, you wouldn't fail, would you? You wouldn't fail. So it points out the weak points very easily, right? So you can use failure as a means of learning and growing from it by it finding out your weak points, and then you just work upon them and act upon them so that you can become better. But imagine not learning from your mistakes and not accepting criticism. You would not make that much progress, right? And imagine the person who does not even try to accept criticism, instead he gets angry at it and just insults back, and he does not learn from mistakes and feels superior to others. So he doesn't want to learn and doesn't want to improve in any way. You probably know a guy like this, right? In your life. You probably know a guy like this. In your classroom or somewhere in some public spaces. You know a guy like this, right? And you don't want to be like him, right? So mindsets play a huge role in what we think and do. If you have an egoistic mindset, you would be way more cocky and you would be like, yeah, man, I'm superior. And you would not really learn, you would not accept criticism. But if you had a humble and open minded mindset, then you would be more open minded to new ideas and you would even accept criticism, even if it is unfair. But if it is fair ones, you would accept it and then see if it can improve your life in any way. So, what I talked about right now is the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. Fixed mindset leads you to a unsuccessful and unhappy life. You wouldn't be fulfilled, and even if you were successful at a point, you would become unsuccessful. And a growth mindset would lead you to have a successful life and a happy one. So let's talk about it more in detail now, shall we? The growth-minded person would try to find things to improve at, even at his lowest situation. And yes, he will become sad. Everyone does, even the fixed mindset and the growth mindset people. But instead of being sad and just being left in that mood, the growth-minded person will try to find things to improve at. And plus, he sees every failure as an opportunity to grow. He learns from his mistakes and finds out his weak points of failure and acts upon them and improves. Now, what this looks in real life is, suppose you got really bad marks on a test, or you're currently working and you've delayed an assignment and did not submit in time to your boss. Now, in both the cases, the growth mindset person would try to find out what had caused this failure and how we can decrease the likelihood of this happening again. Suppose in the student's case, okay, that he got really bad marks on the test because he could not write fast enough. Like his handwriting speed was pretty slow, so he could not write in depth answers and finish the paper. That's why he got really bad marks. Or in the worker's case, like the employed one's case, then suppose he was not really good at delegation, he wasn't really good at delegating the tasks to his team members, they didn't understand properly what his orders meant, and he himself also was kind of slacking off and not really doing that much hard work. Now, in both cases, these people will try to find the mistakes and they found it now. For the student, it's like the handwriting speed, and for the employee, it's the bad delegation skills and the slacking off, like low discipline, say. Then the growth mindset person in both these cases would fix them, or at least try to act upon them to make it better, so that they get better at doing it and decrease the likelihood of this failure occurring again. So then, if you're the student, you would practice like I guess 20 minutes of handwriting every day, and if you're the employee, you would like try to improve your delegation skills by like maybe joining a workshop or something. Like basically delegation skills might be just leadership skills, so you can just join like a leadership skills program or something. And for his low discipline, he would just like try to improve it slowly by keeping like habit tracker and all that stuff. Even the growth mindset person fails, okay? The fixed mindset and the growth mindset person does fail. But instead of being depressed and staying in that, not doing anything about the current situation, the growth minded person will try to find things to improve. But yeah, even the growth mindset person will be depressed. He will be sad, but he will not just stay there and do nothing about the situation. He will try to improve the current situation. The person who has this fixed mindset will not see the failures as an opportunity for growth because they're not even trying to learn from the mistakes. And here's the special thing. So if they win at something, like if they beat someone or something, they think they're smart enough. But if they lose once, like literally once, they feel they're dumb. Like there's no middle. They just are smart or dumb. Even if they've been smart for like 5 years straight, like getting very good grades, one test they mess up, they feel like they're dumb and then it'll go like a downward spiral, right? And upon this, these growth mindset people actually hate like challenging tasks. Because whenever they take up challenging tasks, they realize that they might actually fail at this task and other people might call them dumb. So they have the fear of being called dumb, like they have the fear of judgment, and they don't want to grow because if they do challenging tasks which are required for growth, then they might fail and other people might judge them, right? Now, what this looks in real life is I'll give you some examples, all right? So, suppose you tried singing, okay, for the first time, and your voice wasn't that really good, your toning was off, and all that. Then, if you had the fixed mindset, you would think that, oh man, I don't have the flair for singing. Like, I'm not talented enough. So, I'll just give it up, man. What to do? And then suppose in suppose you tried basketball, okay? You tried playing basketball for the first time, and then you realize that you cannot really play it in the at the NBA level. Obviously, you started the first time. You cannot really play as good as your friends. You weren't shooting the ball properly or dribbling properly. Then, if you had the fixed mindset, you again feel like, man, I'm not fit enough for basketball. I don't have enough talent or flair for it. I'll just give it up. Like Glove, the fixed mindset people literally give up in like the first fight tries if they're not really good. They believe in innate talent so much. And if they work too hard, they feel that they're not talented enough. Because the talented people, they don't need to work hard. They just rely on the talent and just make the talent let them grow to like new heights. They don't work hard. That's what they feel, bro. They literally don't work hard because they feel it'll make them it'll make them less talented. Yeah, I know, very crazy. So, from what I've said in the previous parts of the videos, like about the fixed mindset and the growth mindset, where do you think you lie in the spectrum of having the growth mindsets and the fixed mindset? Because even a growth minded person will have some parts of the fixed mindset, okay? Nobody's 100% growth minded. Well, by the end of this video, I guarantee that you will be having more of the growth mindset person. If you follow the steps that I tell you, like after this explanation on that stuff, I'll give a practical advice section. If you follow that and do all the steps, the actionable steps, then I guarantee you'll have more of the growth mindset and start thinking in the growth mindset way, okay? So yeah, now it's done. You know how growth mindset and the fixed mindset are really important for success and all that. Now let's talk about how to actually have more of the good mindset in real life, right? Let's get started. The first and main thing that you need to do is become humble. Being humble meaning you won't be that egoistic, right? Because humble is the opposite of having ego. But if you're not humble, you will become egoistic, and that will lead you to have the fixed mindset, which we don't want, right? Being humble is actually the one of the main points of having a growth mindset. Because if you're not humble, you won't be open minded, thus, you won't be open to criticism, and it's lead back to the fixed mindset. Being humble is actually very important if you want the growth mindset. And if you take anything from this video, just take it that be humble. If you become humble, you will have more of the growth mindset automatically. It's the main part of having the growth mindset. And you might be believing that being humble or having more humility means you're devaluing yourself and lowering your self esteem. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The people who have the most self esteem have the most humility because they don't really care about what other people say, and they're humble enough to not take every criticism as a personal attack or something that can lower the self esteem, right? And if you have more open minded mindset and have more humility, then you'll also start valuing other people's ideas and their beliefs more in a positive way, right? So it's a really important part that you become humble. So the way that you actually become humble is first kill your ego. I'll be the one telling you that you're not all that, bro. You are not on top of the world. And whenever you actually win at something and you start getting a little bit ego, You gotta say this repeatedly to yourself that who do you think you are? You're not God. You're not top of the world. There are way better people than you. Then who do you think you are, man? Act that way. Act like a normal person. So you just gotta keep on humbling yourself. Like this is what I do, right? So recently I got a test. In the test, I got like really good marks. That I thought would lead me to have more ego, right? So I just killed my ego. Like at the start, I was thinking like, man, I'm God. I'm really good at studies. I'm literally the best. But then I repeatedly kept saying to myself that, hey, shut the hell up, you're no one. There are way better people than you. And just like cut off my ego. Because if you have ego, you have the fixed mindset, which we don't want, right? Now, the second thing that you need to do is whenever somebody questions you, all right, for something else or something that you're responsible of, don't take it like a personal attack that they're trying to attack you and judge you and criticize you. Like, no, bro. Take some accountability and think like a man. Respond like a man. If you were responsible for something, and somebody questions you, take accountability. Take it. Suppose your boss questions you, like, hey, bro, where's the assignment? Where's the project work? And you delayed it. Take accountability. He's not giving you a personal attack. Take accountability and think like a man, bro. And third, you gotta realize that whenever you are in social situations, people are not trying to actively criticize you and lower self-esteem and try to bully you. Most people who are having conversation actually just want to convey their ideas and beliefs, man. Like not everybody is out for you and trying to like lower your self-esteem and bully you, man. Relax. Social situations are for enjoyment, so treat it that way. Second thing that you need to do is accept criticism. Accepting criticism is actually one of the main points in growth mindset, and the way that you actually become more open-minded and more open-minded to criticism is by becoming more humble, right? Humility is very important. That's what I'm saying in the previous section throughout the entire video. Humility is very important for the growth mindset. Accepting criticism also allows you to find your weak points, which are really essential because when you find your weak points, you'll just act upon them. I mean, at least you'll try to though. So the criticism will open up new weak points, will show you the weak points, and then it's up to you if you want to act on it or just leave it like that. Whenever somebody criticizes you, the way to actually differentiate it from the bad criticism, like the insults, to actually the fair and constructive ones is this, okay? So try to adopt this train of thought. I try to think this way next time somebody criticizes you. Now, if somebody criticizes you, think like this, okay? Are they fair in criticizing me? Are they actually pointing out a weak point? Or are they simply just trying to insult me? Hmm? Really think about this. And if they're trying to help you, then take the criticism and then work upon it. If they're not, then accept it and don't reply back. And the reason that I say don't reply back to insults and unfair criticism is that whenever you reply back, you get disturbed. And what those people actually want, the ones that insult you, is for you to get disturbed and reply back. So if you keep on replying back, they will have one and they'll keep repeating this because they know it's working and you are getting disturbed by their comments. So if you stop replying back, they'll soon realize that their criticism and their insults are not that effective. By the way, I have a full video on how to actually differentiate this criticism, like the fair one and the bad ones, and how to actually ignore the unfair and the insults one. I'll give the link in the description. Make sure to watch it if you are really interested in this topic. I explain it in way more detail and give you way more actionable steps. The final thing that you gotta do is realize that failure is growth. You need to get used to failing because in your life, you'll fail a lot. Even a growth minded person will fail a lot. And a fixed minded person also will fail a lot. So the way that you actually accept the failure and the way you treat it is actually very important. Because through failure only you actually learn your mistakes and everything. So if you actually treat failure the right way and see it as an opportunity for growth, then you can just learn from your failures, find out the weak points to failure and improve upon them. Like learning from failure is actually very important. As I said in the starting of the video, if you don't really learn from your failures, you aren't going to make that much progress in life. I'll tell you that much. Okay. So the way that you actually do this is suppose you got really bad marks on a test. Yeah, I'm using the same example. Relax. Suppose you got really bad marks on a test, or uh, you did not do a certain project work completely. Like you submitted an uncompleted one or a not satisfactory one, like it's below the mark. Okay, so what you can ask yourself when you fail and when you're in these situations is what can I improve upon so that I can decrease the likelihood of this situation happening again, like the decrease the likelihood of you getting bad marks or submitting an unfinished one or something. What can I do? And from there on out, when you really sit with that question, when you really think very deeply, then you soon realize that the weak points right here. You find out the weak points when you ask yourself these questions. And then all you gotta do is act upon them and try to fix them. Suppose you got really bad marks on the test because you couldn't frame your sentences very clearly in the English test, and so that's affecting you in the other tests and getting low marks. Then you would just try to improve vocabulary, improve your brevity and your sentence structuring by just doing some questions and stuff like that. And for the employee, what you do is next time whenever you submit a project file, okay, always thoroughly examine it for some inaccuracies or something that may make it unsatisfactory and like it's not up to the mark, right? You would do that, then you check again so it never happens again. So this is how you actually realize that failure is growth and you can learn from failure by doing this. And yes, it will be tough for the first few times when you actually try doing this and try to think what can I improve on, even at the lowest. And whenever you fail, it's actually very hard to think like this, but once you slowly start trying to think like this will become a little bit normal. Start adopting this because we become like that which our hearts are fixed upon. So we're fixed upon learning from failure, and every failure that happens, slowly you'll start adopting this train of thought one way or another. If it might be a little bit different, but the main point is that you learn from failures and ask yourself these questions to find out the weak points and then act upon them, right? So yeah, this is the end of the video, guys. Hope you liked it and found it informative, and make sure to join my Discord and make sure to subscribe and like.